Hey everyone, today we're going to be taking a quick look at a handful of options if you're looking for an EDC knife that could also function as a great option for like an emergency kit or a bug-out bag. Now this is a question we get all the time, both in the comments and especially in store. So one of the first ones here is the Benchmade Triage. This one has been around for a bit now and stuck around because it's kind of one of the perfect ones for this category. So we're starting off pretty strong. A benefit here, you do have their axis lock or just a crossbar lock that is ambidextrous. This works the same for a righty or a lefty, which is great. These do have their seatbelt cutter, but that can cut through all types of fabric. And I've seen people use these as gut hooks, so very versatile there. And then of course, being tactical, it's got a glass breaker. So this does have a lot of really good tools in it. And with that being said, they also have a bunch of different versions of the Triage. So here are manuals. They both have those serrations. One has a more blunt tip if you're not looking for something that would accidentally be pokey, but it's still a great survival tool. You have that. Normally with EDC, a lot of times you won't see serrations anymore. Serrations were kind of a product of the time. Blade steels didn't hold as good of an edge. So that's where serrations came into play. But nowadays with steels performing as well as they do, there's not really a big need for serrations. But I will say in this specific type of category being worst case scenario tool, I do like to see serrations. They just rip through like cord, rope, anything like that really, really quickly. They're a pain in the butt to sharpen, but in this type of tool, I do recommend it. And they also have an automatic version as well, if that's what you're looking for. And even the gut hook here, or seatbelt cutter, is also automatic. So Benchmade has a bunch of really cool options here with the Triage. Highly recommend looking into them. And then next up, we'll see one that is really similar to what we were just looking at. And this is from Hogue. This is their Trauma. You might notice it looks, like I said, extremely similar to that Triage. It's because it kind of is. You're also getting those G10 handles that'll hold up really good to the elements. Again, also with a seatbelt cutter, but these do come also in serrations, coatings, different colors. You get the gist. Pretty much everything I said about the Triage is also applicable here for the Trauma. And next up, we've got, this one's kind of a small little guy from Cold Steel. This is the Verdict, but it's not just this specific model that I want to talk about. It's pretty much any backlock. Now, Cold Steel, they have their Triad backlock, which has been seen to be just one of the strongest locks on the market. So pretty much anything from Cold Steel, any reputable, strong backlock, I could highly recommend. It is both ambidextrous and extremely strong. You don't really have to worry about it failing. So that is one of my favorite recommendations. There are so many options in this one category. So if you find a blade steel or shape or just model that you like, I don't think you can go wrong with a backlock. And next up, we've got some more automatics. While I know a lot of people are big fans about the front autos, myself included, I wouldn't probably recommend it for this category. Normally, if one of them like does derail or if it gets a little gummed up, you can totally spray it out with like rem oil and then compressed air, and that'll get you going. But in an emergency situation, you don't exactly have that luxury. So for this type of category, I would probably steer away from out the fronts and stick more towards at the sides, because even if this spring does somehow fail, you can still disengage the lock, pull this open, you should have a totally fine functioning knife. And here with Microtech, this is their LUDT, which if I show you some close-up footage of the blade, that stands for the Large Underwater Demolition Team, which is named after the Navy's underwater demolition team. This was designed for use underwater and in harsh environments. So this one has a super aggressive serrations, does come in different blade shapes, and being Microtech, they of course have different colors. So something high vis could be great, or something super tactical all blacked out, depending on what you're looking for. I think this is a great model. Just having one-handed deployment in an emergency situation is an excellent thing. Now, very last up, we get this question, like I said, a ton. and people always want like a folding knife, something that can go in the pocket. And a lot of us will always try and point out and steer and say, okay, if you're looking for a hard use knife, it is really our recommendation to go with something like a fixed blade. This one here is an Izula II from ESEE Knives. It is one of my favorite small, compact EDC fixed blades. ESEE has an outstanding warranty. They're incredibly affordable, and they can take an absolute beating. I don't know what it is, but a lot of people are super opposed to getting a fixed blade. 9 times out of 10, if I'm in an emergency situation, I'm probably just grabbing my fixed blade as a first instinct. I know the last thing I want to worry about is a lock potentially failing on me. So I'll get off my fixed blade soapbox here. I would love to know your opinion on this lineup in the comment section below. If you have any personal recommendations or let us know what you carry, I'd love to hear it. And as always, if you are looking to pick one of these up or just want to read even more about them, there are links in the description box below the video that'll take you on over to gpknives.com. But before you head out, don't forget to like and subscribe, and stay sharp.